Thank you, Laura. My name is Gianfranco Sorasio. I am the CEO of eVISO. Today with me there is also Federica Berardi, the CFO of eVISO, and we will explore in the next 20 minutes, we will explore the results of the full year. The full year results approved yesterday by the board of directors. The data are of the 12 months periods from July 2023 to June 2024. The results we will see today were possible thanks to the team of dedicated professionals that invest their energy and passion in the company. A special thank to the company employees and collaborators from over 10 origins in Europe and beyond. A special acknowledgement to our three brokers, Websim Intermonte, TP Cap Midcap from Paris, and Envent for supporting the initiative of today. I have seen analysts in the room and salespeople in the room. They will be happy to give all of you informed support for your investment process in the future. And I'm sure the analysts will be today ready for some questions at the end of the presentation. Today's event is one of a kind, so it's the first time we are presenting the data to an open public. So eVISO is also innovating in the transparency and clear exposition of results to professional investors and to retail investors. So going to the number, and thank you to Marta Allocci for sharing the presentation. Going to the numbers, we can go to the next page. This fiscal year was a record year for all the parameters regarding efficiency of eVISO. The revenues were more or less stable compared to last year, even if the cost of energy decreased 57%. The gross margin, which in Italian is primo margine, the gross margin scored was 18 million with an increase of 2.5 times, so 166% increase, clearly defining a new standard. The Ebitda was 11 million, 5 times larger than last year. The net results was 4.9 million euro compared to the loss we had last year. Let me just remind you that the period 22-23 was a period where eVISO was hit by the so-called high energy cost crisis. The net financial position in June of 2024 was 11.4 million of cash positive. I want to stress this cash positive because as far as I'm informed, eVISO is the only company listed in the market dealing with energy and gas with a positive cash position. Utilities listed in the main Milano Borsa, in the main market. Usually they have 70, 72, 75% debt position. So this is quite unique. If you go to the next page, we can see that the aggregated gross margin evolution. So the gross margin is the number that we use in eVISO to measure our growth in creating value for the company. And so the numbers that we are presenting here in a graphical way, you can see that the fiscal year 23-24, we delivered 18 million of gross margin, and the gross margin was composed by several lines. So the power direct, the direct clients are the main contributors. Then there is also both B2B and B2C. Then we have a reseller channel, which is as being a very force of growth for the company. And then we have other services which are growing, like gas, selling gas to direct client and gas to resellers. A parameter which I think it's very interesting is that we presented in this graph is the compounded growth rate over a long period of years, and we can see that the compounded annual growth rate registered last year was 41%, measured over 8 years period. 41% compounded growth rate over such a long period, it's a very stable result and a very, I would say, from the company perspective, it's a statement of the ability of the company to constantly keep on growing the gross margin. Last year we scored 29%, which is the lowest in all the years that we are, let's say, presented in this graph. If we move to the next one, so we're talking of gross margin, then we move to Ebitda. In this graph, you can see the evolution of Ebitda. The Ebitda was, when we went public in 2020, was 2.4 millions. Then this year is 11 million. Last year was 2 millions. The year 22-23 was the year where we had where eVISO was hit by the high energy cost crisis. Let me remind you that the high energy cost crisis has a double impact. One was extra costs due to unbalancing cost, clearly making a 1% error in forecasting when energy cost 100 as a different cost of making the same 1% error in energy forecasting when energy cost 800 euro per megawatt hour. So we had high energy cost and high energy, say, balancing costs. And as a second point is that in the year 22-23, the government blocked the renewal of the contracts. So eVISO was forced to maintain for a full year the old contracts that we had with the direct channel in the previous year. So I would say, so if we exclude 22-23 from this graph, we can see that the Ebitda is constantly growing. A second parameter, which is very much connected with the business model of eVISO, which is a platform business model, is that the conversion from gross margin to Ebitda has been moving from 58%, 59%, 62%. This year we register a 61% conversion, which is very stable, demonstrated that in eVISO we built a very solid engine of transforming margins in Ebitda. If we move to the next slide, we can look at some peculiar indicators. So the volume of electricity, we had an increase of 53% in the energy delivered to the client. I'm talking about power. So we reached more than 900 gigawatt hour of energy delivered to our clients. This is a 53% increase. I would like to stress the industrial impact of such a number. One thing is to grow 50% in the digital world in number of downloaded apps, in number of clicks, or in number of people visiting the website. When we are talking of delivering energy to client, so it's an industrial operation with a high logistics operation, from signing contracts to measuring data, to sending invoices, to collecting money. 53% is an astonishing result in such a short period of 12 months. Regarding the profitability of the different channels, we have seen that the gross margin, how much euro we have of margin for each unit of electricity, we had a strong growth on the reseller segment, where we score an increase of 133%. Actually, we almost double the margin for every megawatt hour delivered, and also for the direct client, we had a 93% increase. Regarding the volume of gas, we started in last year, we started to grow the contracts of gas and the delivery of gas. And so we have scored a 172% increase in the gas delivered to our clients, mainly direct clients. And in the bottom, you can see that the reseller clients had, I would say, the largest increase. So the reseller channel with 600 more or less gigawatt hour, and the direct client with more or less 300 gigawatt hour delivered. Moving to the next slide, we can look here to some more logistics and industrial operations. So eVISO has a proprietary infrastructure which executes millions of operations. So last year we served more than 200,000 collection points. There is also a second number which is very important, is that the same collection point is used during the year by different clients. So if we look on the left, we see that the collection points served, which are pods, are more than 200,000. But if we look on the bottom, we can see that the number of users, meaning clients served, were more than 500,000. Actually, reseller and direct clients more than 540,000. So we have from one side how many points of delivery we served, but also we have how many clients we touched, because maybe one client can consume in one house just for 1 month. Then there is another one renting the house, then another one renting the same house. So we can have different clients for the same point of consumption. So going back to the numbers, we decided starting August to communicate to the market the number of collection points that eVISO is serving, either of electricity and gas, because those numbers are easily comparable to the number of points that Terna of the distributors is providing to the market, or the Italian authorities are providing to the market. But it's important today to stress that for eVISO are also important number of clients touched, because those clients we need to give an excellent service. Regarding a number of resellers that have a contract with eVISO, this number is 94. So I think this covers more or less from 12 to 13% of the reseller active in Italy. And we issue 50,000 of support services either to reseller or to direct clients directly. The number of support services it just increased 4%. Because of some changing regulations that happen in January. What happened in January is that the resellers can now do automatically connecting not to our platform, but to the platform of the Italian market. They can do in autonomously some number of support services. In the right, you can see also a number which give you the scale of the infrastructure we use in eVISO. In 2020, the number of readings that we were receiving from the various distributors regarding how much companies are consuming or families are consuming were more or less 300 millions. In July 24, the number of readings that we use in our daily operation were 21 billions. So really, the electricity sector and gas sector in Italy, in 4 years, they moved from being big data, because 300 million is a big number, to being, I would say, much more than a big data. This is it's a humongous number to manage, and eVISO successfully managed to do it and to keep operation running smoothly with all our clients. Regarding this number, if the existing laws will be applied, what we will see is that in January 2025, most of the meters will start sending not the data every hour, but for measurement for every hour, actually one every 15 minutes. So it is possible that in the next years, this number 21 billion readings can move to 100 billion readings. So just to give you a perspective on the scale of operation that eVISO is getting ready and investing on. Moving to the next slide regarding margins. So I told you that gross margin is the key indicator that every sector, every squad, every department in eVISO is measuring constantly. In this graph, what you can see is the evolution of how much euro per megawatt hour, so gross margin per unit of electricity we extract from every channel. So on the left, you can see that looking at reseller channel, we have seen some kind of stability until 2023. And then in this year, we managed to grow 133%, which we're very happy. On the right, we can see the direct sales, which is more or less similar. We can see that the somehow stability in the margin we create for every unit of energy, and in this year we managed to move from 15 to almost 30 euro per megawatt hour with an increase of 93%. From my perspective, this is a new equilibrium. We moved, so we have no expectation that this jump will keep up in the future. What we see is that we are now at the new equilibrium, and this equilibrium is the new equilibrium also for the next few years. The competitive position of eVISO is due to its business model. From one side, as I was mentioned, technology. From the other side, eVISO is a cash positive company, while competitors on the market, they move with an average debt over turnover of 73%. Clearly, the cost of having of maintaining such debt has an impact. So if we look at the figures from the European Central Bank of the cost of borrowing in the euro area for corporation, this is an average value provided at the beginning of September by European Central Bank. They were saying that the cost of borrowing was more or less 5%. If our competitors, they have a 75% roughly debt to turnover ratio, means that they have a 4% extra cost on turnover compared to eVISO, and this 4% extra cost means that eVISO has extra margins since we don't have these extra costs. So looking at the future, with a slow decrease of the cost of borrowing, what we will see is that probably our competitors could decide of having, of moving this reduction in their cost some percentage to the client. And so from one side, we have a dynamic of margin that could go down. On the other dimension, which I think is more material, is that our clients will start again to invest in production, and the consumption of electricity will go up, and total margins will go up. So if we go to the next slide, I think that net financial position is something that's very important in eVISO, and I will ask to Federica Berardi to comment this slide on the cash positions.
Very quickly. Yeah, we introduce a very nice graph in the bottom of the slide where you can see the evolution of our net financial position to this last fiscal year. You see the growth, the dynamic. We reach over 20 million euros of cash in June, thanks to our financial diligence and our capacity of generating cash from our business model, everyday business model. And so I think that we can continue this way. Is our mission to create cash from our from the gas and power business, and with this cash we can invest in different channel and take new opportunity from the energy market or from our different market like smart mele, and using this cash to create new margin and new dynamics.
Yeah, Federica, can you also comment? I was mute. Yeah, can you also comment the first figures or the bridge of the net financial position? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see that we receive? We arrived to 11,000 euro of net financial position, and the net financial position is changing to this factor positively by 15.7 million related to the improvement in working capital, negatively by the reduction of 4.6 million in security deposit following the realignment of guarantee request to the price of energy, negatively by 2.4 million in VAT credit is a dynamic of credit that we have in our business model, and negatively by the increase in buyback activity of about 1.5 million euro, and negatively by the increase of 4.6 million related to the investment in our new building. So there is these factors are normal factor that having an impact of in our net financial position, but like I told before, I think in the future the evolution of our net financial position can remain stable because our business model is generating cash, because we are very diligent in managing cash flow and in our investment and our movement of cash. I don't know, it's Gianfranco.
Yeah. No, thank you. Then if we have questions, we can move.
Yeah.
So we can move then to the next slide. So smart mele, it's a project we started to develop 4 years ago. Just to remind you, smart mele is the marketplace where producers and buyers from everywhere in the world can buy apples, container of apples we deliver in the future. So it's a marketplace. So far, it's the only marketplace in the world. We have signed several. So if you can go to the next slide, you have been informed that we signed contracts with industrial consumers at the end of July, beginning of August. So it's a very promising projects. Regarding the communications, so the last communications that we issued here, there is a brief summary. But last week, actually this week, we announced that eVISO Giro, our technology, where everyone making a sports activity everywhere in the world can actually turn this activity measured by Garmin or by the phone or by whatever is the device, can be turned into electricity and used. If you have an eVISO, and you should, all of you, if you have an eVISO bill, you can use your energy to have a discount in your monthly invoice. So eVISO Giro started the commercial part. Every one of you can find eVISO Giro in the Apple Store or in the Android Store. And then we had on the 12th of September, we have an agreement with the Banca with a bank, a local bank with 26 retail points where they will start to sell in their own way eVISO contracts to their more than 40,000 clients and 17,000 shareholders. And also at the end of July, the beginning of August, we signed contracts with industrial clients to deliver more than 2 million cubic meters of gas. So signing also a clear and strong position, on the direction of the company. We want to expand aggressively in the sector of gas, locally, direct on retail, on small company, on industrial companies, and also on resellers.